There's an unsettling truth at the heart of all worldviews, and it's probably not what you think. Hi there, welcome to Peak Argument, where a regular old guy argues about stuff. I was out on my run listening to a podcast, and one of the big things that they are always talking about in these sort of discussions is how well does your worldview explain the evidence or the data. And one of the key data points is the fact of the existence of the universe. I just had a thought while I was listening to this, and no matter what worldview that you subscribe to, Christian, atheist, Buddhist, Muslim, whatever, at some point you need to assert a brute fact. Now, in this context, the brute fact is, you could call it the basis of reality, the uncaused cause, is not externally referential to anything. It has no cause. A lot of this, by the way, has to do with the Big Bang Theory, which is commonly seen as the start of the universe. Just wanted to point out, I find it very interesting that it seems to me that only apologists are saying that the Big Bang is the beginning of the universe. Most cosmologists, the answer is they don't know. But there are different theories, one of which is that the Big Bang is the beginning of the universe, and there are other ones as well, like the universe is eternal, etc. But the point is that cosmologists are saying, we don't know. We don't have enough information, we need more research. An opinion is divided as to whether the Big Bang is the start. Christians are saying the Big Bang is definitely the start of the universe. A Christian would say that brute fact is God. And an atheist might say that the brute fact is something like energy or, the universe. Now, I'm not going to get into the philosophical arguments of eternal universes and that kind of stuff. It's a bit above my pay grade. I'll leave that one to the philosophers to work that out. The reason I wanted to make this video is, to me, whatever your assertion is, and it is an assertion, that this is the brute fact upon which reality is based. I don't see how you can say that one is better than the other. To use the atheist example, let's just say energy is the brute fact. So energy has eternally existed. Something happened at or around the Big Bang, which caused our sort of current version of the universe or space-time or whatever to come into existence. Right, and then from that, stars developed, evolution, and here we are. I know that kind of brushes over it a little bit, and each one of those things has its own argument, but I'm just talking about the brute fact. Whereas a Christian might say that the brute fact is God. I've heard it that they say he's like this timeless, spaceless, immaterial, personal being, etc., and that God is the brute fact upon which reality is based. From where I'm sitting, it just seems like those are just both assertions of brute fact that have equal explanatory power. Big difference for Christians, at least, is that because God can do anything that does happen can be attributed to him. So in other words, he fills a lot of other explanatory gaps or explanatory needs. Things like the moral argument and stuff like that, I'm not convinced on all that. Just like to say that I think energy can do anything that is in fact possible. I'd like someone to try and do anything without using energy. Let me know how it goes. Apologies for the slightly rambling / incoherent video. But yeah, if anyone's got anything to add or, something that they can critique on that, I'd love to hear why I'm wrong in saying that a brute fact, or I guess both sides of the fence, if you want to put it like that, are just asserting a brute fact. But thanks for watching, and have a good day.